Okay, and so here, I always think that it's a great idea to hire a local to help you. And why would you want to do that? You know, in some of these countries, especially if you don't speak the language, it's really difficult to get the best price that the locals will get. So, if you have a language barrier, you may want to consider hiring a local to help you, that is bilingual, to be able to go and speak to the owners for you to make sure that everything is going as you plan it or as you're thinking in your mind. Also, when you hire a local to help you, you can also avoid what we like to call foreigner's tax. It's a joke, but in the Spanish countries, they call it gringo pricing. So when you go and try to rent a property and you don't really know the language and uh, hablo español muy poquito, hablo inglés, they're like, no, we don't speak English, and so you're a gringo, so don't expect fair pricing. Also, hiring a local is going to help you because they know the areas, they know what's safe, what's good, what's the best place for someone who's not from here to live, someone's a place that is friendly to foreigners. And then also hiring a local is going to also help you to be confident to know that your contract is legit. Okay, so don't be afraid. Hire a local. Ask them, to help you out, and when you hire them, you can, pretty much be sure that they're going to do their job. Okay. Now, when renting abroad, I do want to talk about things not to do. This is your don't list, two not to do list, okay? So, when renting abroad, do not, under any circumstance, do not do what we did on our first property. Use Craigslist to find your new place. Don't use Craigslist to find your new place. It's just not reputable. For us, it ended up as a wonderful experience, but not for everyone. So we just don't do it. When we found our property, we were actually in the United States. I was looking on Craigslist because I didn't know any better. I didn't know what else to look for. We never left the country before. So I was looking on Craigslist. I found this place. I contacted them. And I was like, it was about 3 weeks before we were going to move. And I told him, I said, oh, this place is nice. I like it. And we had a conversation back and forth, back and forth. And then I said, well, I'm not sending you any money online. I'm not wiring you anything for a deposit. He says, no problem. We will hold the apartment for you. The house, it was actually a house, a 2 bedroom, one bath, and a separate office. Very nice house. And we'll even come and pick you up from your hotel. So they drove like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, came and picked us up with all our stuff and drove us back to our new home. And then we did all of the negotiation and everything from there, which was still kind of risky, but it worked out. So this is a situation where we say, don't do as we do as we say. So another thing is, don't send anyone money online. I get so many people that contact us and they're like, well, this landlord said to send us a deposit so he can hold it for us and it's a good price. And just don't do it. Even when you're local in the area, you don't know what those pictures are to. It's just too trusting and too much of a risk to send money online. And determine your next place via online photos. Again, we don't know if the photos that I'm putting a deposit for are actually the photos to the house that you're renting, or even if you have a house to rent. That is a huge scam online. So just don't do it. Be safe, be smart. All right, all right, all right. So now you have lived in your country for at least a year. and you've gone to different types of areas, different zones, you've experienced different climates and things of that nature, and you finally found the area that you want to buy your property. Now, kudos to you, because you've actually been doing the research, the legwork, and school systems, the weather, everything is perfect for you. You're ready to go ahead and make that investment. Just like most expats, you've already been renting a condo or a house during your stay, and now you're just really ready. You're ready to consider purchasing a property. So we have collected just a number of tips for you on how to buy property overseas and what you, as a foreign buyer, need to especially look out for. Okay, because things are a lot different than it is in the United States when it comes to purchasing properties. So basically, the current low property prices in many of popular locations just may tempt you more than anything in buying real estate into another country. But you have to look at it like this: when you're doing such a big investment, it really deserves to be well and thoroughly planned out. And so, in order to support this big dream of yours to finally own your property outside of your home country, we've collected some general pieces of advice regarding property purchases when you move abroad. So we have, talked to so many people as we're traveling, as we're, moving around these different countries, and we have heard some of the most heart-wrenching stories about buying properties. And the reason that a lot of the people, had to go through these experiences is because they just did not arm themselves with the information that they needed to invest in properties in their country. So when we were in Costa Rica, there was a story that I read, an article in one of the popular newspapers there. And there was this couple that were renting a hotel, and they were renting it, and I guess it was an option to buy clause or something. So they were renting it, renovated some things, really got business going to the point, I think they rented it for like 3 or 4 years or something like that. Well, they got to the point where they were ready to invest in this hotel. So they did their due diligence. They went to the embassy of their home country, and they asked for a list of reputable real estate people to be able to assist them with the transaction. So they found the person on the list, contacted the person, they liked the person, they did all of everything that needed to be done, got the money into the country, and I think it was 250,000. Roughly about that in US dollars, or a little bit more, might have been 350,000. At any rate, got the money into the country, and the real estate person up and vanished. So even then, these people really did do their due diligence. They, went and even looked for reputable, this person was listed on someone to trust with the embassy. So it was just really big thing, because a lot of countries, like we say, is different than the United States, but a lot of countries, when it comes to these types of crimes, it takes years for it to even go to court. So somehow, they've been going back and forth. I guess they found the person refunded a portion of the money that was stolen. So that's one of the horror stories, and it gets a little more detailed. I just don't want to bore you with the details, because I read the story a very long time ago and I don't remember all the details, but that's heart-wrenching. Now they had this place that they wanted to buy that they were so hyped up about, and had to go through this experience. Then it kind of just takes the air out of all of the things that they had planned for even investing in the country of Costa Rica. So that's just one of the stories. I'll try to give you a few more as I go through here. So just bottom line, there are really good things or huge things that you really need to look out for. Think about as you're looking at the properties that you want to invest in as a foreigner in different countries. But the first thing that I would advise anybody, of course, even in your home country, but especially abroad, get professional help, get legal help, hire some really, really good real estate attorneys. And believe it or not, a lot of these countries, depending on where you go, they don't even have real estate agents. It's not a thing as to have a real estate agent. Some of these places, you think you're buying a property, and if you're not looking at everything correctly, like the address, the land, and everything, you may be buying something that you weren't even shown. So there was also a scenario where somebody went through all of the paperwork, purchased the property and everything, went to go survey the land of where the owner showed them where the property was located, and there was somebody else on the property surveying the land as well, and the person there was like, no, this is my property, and the other person was like, wait a minute, I just purchased this property. So then they looked at the paperwork, and sure enough, the paperwork was not the place that he went to go look, this is the property that I'm selling. That was not the same address information on the paperwork. So all of those little things, you have to be sure that you take a look at, know, and really, really get some really strong advice from the real estate agent. So one could say that rule number one for buying property in another country is to get professional legal assistance. Having the advice of somebody who knows their way around the laws and of countries and speaks the local language, it's just really going to be an invaluable asset to you. So whether you're doing like a legal representative, or a real estate agent, or something that can make sure that everything is done right in regards to planning, consent, and licensing, and property titles, and owner registrations, and every other legal matter that you can even think of, and some that you can't think of, some that you could never even imagine would be the case. So when you're choosing your solicitor, or the person that is going to be showing you the different properties, you would be best not to follow any recommendations made by the person or company that is selling the real estate, because of course they have their own interest in mind. You want to look for the person who represents the buyer. So similarly, to minimize the chances of you being scammed, better to use the services of the professional real estate agencies during your research for your new home, or only to buy from reputable developers. That's what I suggest. A lot of these situations that I've heard of came about because they were trying to buy from the owner directly, because they felt that they can, kind of get a better deal or what have you. And that sometimes will cause problems. I'm not saying all the time, because sometimes those really do go across well, but get a reputable developer. And also with an independent property valuation, you can also make sure that everything is in order with your future home, and that everything is up to par. And last but not least, if you're not already fluent in your language of the country that you're purchasing in, you should also have all those documents professionally translated, just so you can go over everything. Okay, so you can understand everything.
Hey family, thanks again for watching another episode of Mitch and Donna's Journey. Don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and click the bell for notifications. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Thanks again for watching. Peace.